Maya civilization. From Cultural Diaries. The rise of the Maya began about 250 BC, and what is known to archaeologists as the Classic Period of Mayan culture lasted until about 900 AD. At its height, Mayan civilization consisted of more than 40 cities, each with a population between 5,000 and 50,000. The peak Mayan population may have reached 2 million people, most of whom were settled in the lowlands of what is now Guatemala in Central America. After 900 AD, however, the classic Maya civilization declined precipitously, leaving the great cities and ceremonial centers vacant and overgrown with jungle vegetation. Some scholars have suggested that armed conflicts and the exhaustion of agricultural land were responsible for the sudden decline. One cause was probably the war-related disruption of river and land trade routes. Other contributors may have been deforestation and drought. As early as 1500 BC, the Maya started to settle in villages and had developed an agriculture based on the cultivation of corn, beans, and squash. They began to build ceremonial centers, and by 200 AD these had developed into cities containing temples, pyramids, palaces, courts for playing ball, and plazas. The ancient Maya quarried immense quantities of building stone, usually limestone, which they cut by using harder stones such as chert. They practiced mainly slash-and-burn agriculture, but they used advanced techniques of irrigation and terracing. They also developed a system of hieroglyphic writing and highly sophisticated calendrical and astronomical systems. The Maya made paper from the inner bark of wild fig trees and wrote their hieroglyphs on books made from this paper. Those books are called codices. The Maya also developed an elaborate and beautiful tradition of sculpture and relief carving. The major extant Mayan cities and ceremonial centers feature a variety of pyramidal temples or palaces overlain with limestone blocks and richly ornamented with narrative, ceremonial, and astronomical beliefs and inscriptions that have ensured the stature of Mayan art as premier among Native American cultures. The discoveries shed some light on Mayan religion, which was based on a pantheon of nature gods, including those of the sun, the moon, rain, and corn. A priestly class was responsible for an elaborate cycle of rituals and ceremonies. Closely related to Mayan religion was the impressive development of mathematics and astronomy. In mathematics, positional notation and the use of the zero represented a pinnacle of intellectual achievement. Mayan astronomy underlay a complex calendrical system involving an accurately determined solar year of 365 days and a sacred calendar of 260 days. Mayan astronomers compiled precise tables of positions for the Moon and Venus and were able to accurately predict solar eclipses. Many of the hieroglyphs depict the histories of the Mayan dynastic rulers, who waged war on rival Mayan cities and took their aristocrats captive. Those captives were then tortured, mutilated, and sacrificed to the gods. Indeed, torture and human sacrifice were fundamental religious rituals of Mayan society. They were thought to guarantee fertility, demonstrate piety, and propitiate the gods, and, if such practices were neglected, cosmic disorder and chaos were thought to result. The drawing of human blood was thought to nourish the gods and was thus necessary for achieving contact with them. Hence, the Mayan rulers, as the intermediaries between the Mayan people and the gods, had to undergo ritual bloodletting and self-torture. Some reports suggest the Maya believed the end of the 5,000-plus year calendar is an end-of-the-world moment, but that's just not true. Many Maya people may celebrate the beginning of the next 5,125-year cycle of the long count calendar just as we celebrated the new millennium. But they don't believe the end of the world is on the horizon. If anything, they're hopeful that a new era will usher in an age of higher consciousness, greater peace, and enhanced understanding among the diverse peoples on the planet. The Maya's remarkable long count calendar relies on zero as a placeholder. While the idea of zero may have originated in Babylonia, it was independently conjured by the Maya, likely in the 4th century. Zero in the Maya written language was often represented by a shell-shaped glyph. The Maya numerical system is based on factors of 20. So Maya numbers are composed of units of 1, 20, 400, and so on. To write the number 403, for example, a Maya would use a symbol for 1 unit of 400, 0 units of 20, and 3 units of 1. That's how they derived the concept of zero. Major Maya sites, like Palenque in southern Mexico and Chichen in the north, have been largely excavated, but others remain buried. Even the most famous ruin in Guatemala has mounds that conceal what could be great temples. Lesser visited Maya sites just north of Tikal in Guatemala's Petén jungle are only fractionally unearthed and thrilling to visit for the sense of discovery. Belize, too, has its share of barely excavated ruins, such as Altunja, just 30 miles from Belize City. You can see monumental pyramids at all these sites, but so much more remains. Ancient Maya enjoyed steamy stone saunas. The Maya sauna, or sweat house, is still popular and offered to visitors at hotels and resorts throughout the Maya world. Ancient Maya cities built saunas of stone or adobe mud. These were used for health and spiritual fulfillment. The Maya combined water with fire-heated rocks to create steam, and sometimes elder leaves were added to the mix. Many Maya cities contained a ball court where teams of the best athletes would try to vanquish each other. The heavy, often soccer-sized ball was made from hard rubber. Some people believed that human skulls were sometimes placed inside the balls. The games were cultural spectacles followed by human sacrifices. Not everyone thinks. In Tikal, it was not the losers who were offered to the gods, but it was the winners. To die in Tikal was an honor. It's no secret that the Maya were advanced astronomers. What's lesser known is that many great Maya structures, such as El Castillo Pyramid, Temple of Kukulkan at Chichen Itza, reflect astronomical events. During equinoxes, an undulating shadow called the serpent slithers along the side of Kukulkan's northern staircase. This is caused by the angle of the sun hitting the 9 main terraces. Also at Chichen Itza is El Caracol, known as the observatory, which is linked to the orbit of Venus. Archeological's front staircase targets Venus's most northern position, and the corners of the building align with the Sun's position at the summer solstice sunrise and winter solstice sunset. Starting in the 8th century and accelerating in the 9th, Maya cities suddenly declined. Their people either died or retreated from these great metropolises. Cultures that had developed highly advanced irrigation, agriculture, astronomy, and building techniques, as well as intricate social structures, rapidly fell apart. No one knows why. The theories of increased war among Maya city-states, overpopulation that led to environmental degradation such as depleted soil, and climate change resulting from deforestation are appeared. Other theories suggest that the enlargement of the ruling class of royalty and priests, and continued demand for temple extravagance, created an imbalance without enough productive workers. Likely it was a combination of the above factors, we may never know. Thanks for watching, friends, and see you in the next video.